Now it's time for Lefties Losing It. Let's have a look at some of the insanity on the streets of Chicago from anti-American lefties. Watch here as a lone man tries to stop the American flag being set alight as masked maniacs scream in his face.
Free Palestine!
Free, not on glory, not on glory. There we go. Yeah! Yeah! Hey, burn the American flag.
Idiot.
It's our country. It's our country.
It's my American flag. Burn it down! Burn it down!
No,
You guys are the enemy. Don't burn
They did burn the flag. They don't just hate Trump and conservatives. They hate Israel. They hate America. They hate Western civilization. But at least they're open about their far-left lunacy. Inside the DNC, they're trying to pretend they're just like the rest of the country. They're even playing country music. But the only thing that really unites these people is a hatred of their political opponents. Watch as this trans activist is given the mic to announce the New Jersey delegates are backing Kamala, but instead he goes on some pronoun-announcing anti-Trump rant instead.
My name is Dr. Joey Perella, pronouns she, her, hers. I'm a proud resident of the Garden State. I'm proud to stand with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they stand with the LGBTQ community. It's time to turn the page on Trump. Thank you.
Dude, you had one job. It wasn't that. Now let's look at the sort of projection and hypocrisy that the DNC provides, and it'll take your breath away. Let's start with former First Lady Michelle Obama talking about the Republicans being against children. But really, she's talking here about Republicans being against children who are being transitioned with dangerous, irreversible treatments.
Demonizing our children for being who they are and loving who they love. Look, that doesn't make anybody's life better.
And here Michelle talks about how bad greed is, how you should be suspicious of those who want more than their share. But thanks to Daily Wire for reminding us of the wealth Michelle and Barack have accumulated.
She and my father didn't aspire to be wealthy. In fact, they were suspicious of folks who took more than they needed.
She paid more than $1,000 for those shoes. I'd pay that much never to see them again. They're awful. But while they're pretending to be all about joy and positivity, Barack and Michelle Obama did again push the politics of envy, grievance, racial division. And to top it off, we had the entire DNC chanting for the political class to do something. Do something. The Democrats are in power. The Biden-Harris administration is running the show. Do they forget that? Indeed, the Democrats have been in power for 12 of the last 16 years, and yet they decry the state of the country, the division, the economy. It's all on them. But the media has their new talking point, and the word of the day is electric.
And it was though someone had plugged in a cable, a current was connected, and there was pure electricity in the room.
Thank you for sharing with us some of the electricity.
The energy is incredibly electric.
You know, it was just electric.
As sort of electric as I've ever seen it. It was absolutely electric.
Talk to me about the atmosphere in here. Is it electric?
Excitement, it is electric.
Senator Schumer wasn't lying when he was saying that there's a lot of electricity and excitement right now.
So it's incredibly electric.
It's electric. Something just got uncorked.
Room in Chicago, quite electric tonight.
Last night was electric.
It'll be electric.
Electrifying.
The electrification.
There's electricity in this room.
That is preferable to Van Jones on CNN, almost crying after hearing the Obamas speak. Dude, get a grip.
I didn't know how much I missed them. I missed them. I missed that. I miss hearing that. This was a masterful act of leadership. It was a sacred task. They took it on well. It was like an oasis. I didn't realize I had been in a spiritual desert until they created that oasis on that stage, and they did a beautiful job tonight.
Oh, my. Dude, you need those around you to tell you to stop talking, seriously. Now, it's just a shame CNN didn't interview this next guy. The BBC did, but I don't think they knew that he was actually a conservative mocking the lefties losing it.
What brought you out here today? No, listen, my name is Noah Shorts. I use he, they pronouns. Like, I'm just really excited that we have, like, the first black woman that could be the president of the United States. And, you know, like, my wife, right, we're in a polyamorous relationship. The lover that my wife took is African American, and, like, I've learned so much about the struggle that people of color go through as a result of my wife's boyfriend. And so I'm excited to really do my part to show solidarity for my marginalized communities. And, like, the best way to do that is to get the first woman of color to be the commander-in-chief, and I'm really excited. I'm so pumped.
And let's end Lefties with Hollywood has-been and DNC fanboy Mark Hamill. He has a message for the nation, and get ready to cringe hard.
Well, in the movies, I fought against make-believe evil. But we're at a time in our history where we're fighting against real evil. So I beg you, please, don't go to the orange side.
And we have plenty more lefties losing it with my next guest. Joining me now is Sky News contributor Kosha Gator. Kosha, we've had Bill Clinton, Nancy Pelosi and Oprah speak at the Democratic National Convention.
Common sense tells you that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz can give us decency. Let's all choose Kamala Harris!
Now, Kosha, Oprah isn't the figure she used to be, but she still has a massive following amongst a certain demographic, your middle-aged female demographic. Will her presence there, her endorsement, mean much to the electorate?
You know, she's definitely past her peak. When her show was airing about a decade ago, she was getting 55 million viewers from that key demographic. She's past that peak, but she still does have real star power in that group. And one of the most ascendant segments for the Democrat Party is single women above the age of 40. I was looking at this the other day. They vote 72% for the Democrat. That's the most monolithic voting pattern outside of African Americans.
Even more so if they're unmarried.
Unmarried.
Interesting.
Married women, it's actually much closer split, and they lean slightly Republican, but unmarried women over 40. How much of those people today Oprah is reaching, I don't know, but even if she turns a little bit of them, that is very powerful.
But then that is a demographic that is already backing the Democrats strongly. So
does she move the needle more for them?
Exactly. For the undecideds, for those who are perhaps not politically engaged, that's going to be the question. Now, just about everyone who's taken to the DNC stage has played the victim to a certain extent, but none as much as Michelle Obama, who had a lot to say, a lot of victim playing, a lot of angry attacks against Trump, and a lot of racial politics.
Unfortunately, we know what comes next. We know folks are going to do everything they can to distort her truth. My husband and I sadly know a little something about this. For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black.
It's a little bit rich for Barack and Michelle Obama to play the victim. And what do you make, Kosha, of the do something chant that Michelle started? That was very interesting because the Democrats are in power. Do the people there seem to have forgotten that fairly critical fact?
Seems to be, and it feels like this election isn't about two candidates or even the Republican Party versus the Democrat Party. It's between reality and illusion because they're creating this illusion as though they're not the ones in power, they're not the incumbents. And basically, Barack Obama had 8 years. His VP, Joe Biden, has had another 4 years, and there was just a 4-year blip of Trump in the middle. So they've had the reins for a long time. Look, I think we all support people pulling up their bootstraps and making something of their lives. So that's a good thing about the Obamas, but it is a little bit rich to then try to cast themselves as these downtrodden people or speaking for the downtrodden people when they reportedly are worth $70 million. Good for them.
And all these issues they have with the country, all the things that aren't the way they should be and they're going to change under a Harris administration, well, like you've explained, 12 of the last 16 years, Democrats have been in power. So if there's problems within the country, we know where it's coming from. Exactly. Now, Michelle Obama also shared sentiments about how rich people take more than they need, and you should be distrustful of those sort of people. But this is a woman who earned 700,000 euros for a 1-hour speech at a forum in Germany. And the Obamas of enormous wealth, a lot of it from being in public life. And whatever you think of Trump, he hasn't made his money from the taxpayer.
For sure. So they had a little stint, Barack Obama, in the state Senate, and then a little bit in the United States Senate, and then parlayed that into the presidency. And on the back of that, $70 million reportedly is their net worth. Again, good for them. We celebrate that. There are questions about how they made that money, which is interesting, on the back of being public figures. But I think that's actually a sign of just the times we live in, where celebrity in every sphere, even in politics, gets rewarded. And I would contrast that to somebody like Ulysses S. Grant, 18th president, won the Civil War. He was Abraham Lincoln's general, and he died penniless.
Yeah.
Different times then versus now.
And it was interesting because Trump talked about he, being a billionaire, donated his presidential salary, and he thought that given so many presidents have been relatively wealthy over the years, they would have done the same. But no one had until him, which was surprising in itself. Now, while the DNC is underway, Kamala Harris is busy campaigning. She held a rally about 90 miles away from the DNC venue, Milwaukee, where she again decried the state of the economy as if she's not part of the current administration.
We believe in a future where we lower the cost of living for America's families. And when I am president, I will bring down the cost of groceries by making sure markets are competitive and fair.
This tactic is working, but how long will the media allow her to divorce herself from her own past and from her own legacy as vice president and everything that came before it? Because she is almost campaigning as if she's the challenger.
Until the bitter end, unfortunately. I think they're going to continue to provide cover for her. As we said, this election is about reality versus illusion. You know, people may like Trump personally, may like his policies, or they may not. But you know what they are. You know what he stands for and the vision that he proposes. And on this side, it is a bit of an illusion and chameleon-like nature. I also found it interesting that she's doubling down on the price caps, because that was the one instance of first policy proposal she put out, and it was widely panned, even by the left-leaning media. And she's doubling down on going after the grocery stores that have 1% to 2% margins, and I find that interesting.
It's bizarre, but I think she feels so bulletproof because so much of the press she is getting is overwhelmingly positive. She's getting a lot more coverage than Trump at the moment. So I think she's thinking the stats are in her favour. Now, while the Democrats and Kamala try to rewrite history with the help of the media, Donald Trump is chatting with a range of popular personalities, comics, podcasters, and one who has an enormous following, a very unique character, is Theo Vaugh. And I've got to say, Kosha, their chat was fascinating. Listen to this exchange between wild child Theo and Donald Trump, who has never touched a drop of alcohol. They're discussing here cocaine.
Well, No, I would just do cocaine. That was really, So not just,
That's down and dirty, right?
Yeah, and this is, I mean, it was,
But you don't anymore?
No, I don't do it anymore, man, and I'm not doing it.
Is it too much? Too much to handle?
Some of the stuff started to get a real rattle in it, too. I don't know where we were even getting it from in this country, but yeah, it started to make me feel like I was a mechanic or something.
So the thing you go back to then is alcohol for the most part.
Right, yeah, but what I want probably is cocaine, but I know that if I have a drink, then it'll be like, okay, well, I had a drink, then I can do this.
Is cocaine a stronger up?
Yeah. Cocaine
so you're way up with cocaine more than anything else you can think of.
Cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You'll be out on your own porch, you know. Yeah. You'll be your own street lamp. You're freaking.
And is that a good feeling? Well,
no,
it's a miserable feeling.
But you do it anyway, just like the guy you're saying with the scotch.
I would encourage you to watch the whole thing. It's just a fascinating discussion. They talked about all sorts of other things, the economy, Harris, but I think we shouldn't underestimate the power of those sorts of interactions, because the reach these people have is enormous, whether you're talking about Joe Rogan or that Elon Musk chat he did last week, or Theo Vaugh. Millions and millions will see that.
It's two things, reach and range, that these conversations and formats provide. And it is tens of millions of people. Theo Vaugh, Aiden Ross, who was a streamer a couple of weeks ago. And these are people that the mainstream consultants and advisors probably have no idea who they are, and it's going after people that now are old enough to vote. I don't know how many people from that age group, from their followership, it will turn out, but it could. And in a razor-thin margin election, that's really smart, high ROI, doesn't cost him too much time or money to do these interviews. And you do see the range of the discussion. To your point, it was his conversational skills, Trump's, are quite underrated, because what makes him a good conversationalist is empathy. People don't say that about him, but you could see it, their empathy and curiosity, where he's a complete
The curiosity was key there.
Really key.
And you see that with some of the chats where he's having, where you really are surprised, someone of his age and, you know, being a billionaire and being sort of
He was genuinely interested in what it's like to do cocaine, and that was really unexpected, I think, in many ways.
It wasn't all judgment, where you would expect, particularly someone who's a non-drinker, you would be a bit more judgmental of that discussion. And Theo Vaugh, and I think a lot of other enormously successful and influential personalities like Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, they were from the left. They were Democrats, and they've kind of been red-pilled. And in this discussion, they did talk about Bernie Sanders and how the Democrats have treated him.
Dude, I got so angry when they sidetracked Bernie a few years ago. That wasn't fair. It
happened to Bernie twice.
Yeah.
You think about it.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, 2016 and 22. He just got, it just wasn't cool. Like, whatever you think, it's just like, we have to be able to believe
Would you like Bernie? Are you friends with him or something?
No, I met him the other day.
Was that the first time?
It was the first time.
Were you impressed by him?
Yeah.
One thing, he's still sharp, right?
Oh, yeah, he's still sharp.
He doesn't suffer from what Biden did.
No.
Mental dullness.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
mentally got it.
And it's interesting because now that the Democrats have a younger candidate, they're trying to paint Trump as having cognitive decline and getting confused and not being physically, mentally fit for the job. They've switched that up real quick. And he is significantly older than Harris. Do you think that's going to be an issue coming to the poll?
They're trying that, because you're right, just based on the sheer facts, there's a 20-year difference between them. But I think everybody knows that not all 80-year-olds are alike, and even Bernie versus Biden or Trump versus Biden. So I'm not sure how much that'll make a difference to the people that ultimately come out, but it is a tactic that they're trying. And I think the bigger difference it makes is it's taken away one line of attack that the Trump campaign had. And even now he's prosecuting the case in that clip over there against Biden's age. And that's great, do it, but then I think pivot quickly to prosecuting the case against Kamala.
And they can do it if she avoids interviews and press conferences, because when she's off the script, she's as ditzy as they come. Kosher Gator, thank you so much for your time this evening.